Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the I Am Stacey Thomas Unrestricted Unlimited Talk Show. Why do they say unrestricted unlimited? Simply means that God doesn't want you to put myself nor my guests in a box because we have yet to see all that God has for us. Today, backed by popular demand, I don't think, no, this has never happened. One Sunday I have a guest, the next Sunday the same guest comes on because there's more that needs to be said. Or perhaps it's like what just occurred these past few days. When's Dr. Kim coming back on? Stacey, where is Dr. Kim? Stacey, how do I reach out to Dr. Kim? I even had someone say to me, I think me and my husband needs to speak to Dr. Kim. I'm not Dr. Kim's secretary, so I don't know how her booking dates are. So hopefully that young lady will come on today and get a chance to ask Dr. Kim herself. For those of you who don't know who the beautiful Dr. Kim is, she can be found on Facebook, Kimberly Ventus Darks. She is a motivational tycoon. I mean, she is freaking awesome. I'll try not to laugh too much tonight. She makes me really comfortable. I enjoy talking to her because she is a beautiful, intelligent woman, well traveled. She is a national speaker, right? And she makes me feel comfortable talking to her. So before I bring her on, I'd like to say to you, do you see the title? Are you spiritually exhausted? Strong words, strong words. You may feel that way. You may voice it out loud. You may feel that way and you don't know that you should say it out loud because you're a follower of God. You believe in God. You pray. You're supposed to have faith. But at the end of the day, you forget that you are a human being. So tonight, I am really interested to hear what Dr. Kim has to say. And before we start, I want to give you a sample of something she sent to me to just give me an idea what this conversation would be about.
See, what we don't understand is that when you are a spiritual being, you think spiritually, you talk spiritually, you walk spiritually, your perspective is spiritual, then when you become mentally exhausted, emotionally exhausted, then what happens is that it turns.
There's more. There's more. I apologize.
See, what we don't understand is that when you are a spiritual being, you think spiritually, you talk spiritually, you walk spiritually, your perspective is spiritual, then when you become mentally exhausted, emotionally exhausted, then what happens is that it turns into spiritual exhaustion.
Okay. So let's bring on the beautiful woman that I am so highly fond of and anxious to hear what she has to say. Let's welcome Dr. Kim.
Hi, Stacey, and hi, everyone that's watching. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Hello, beautiful. Thank you for coming back on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor.
Well, it's an honor for me to have you on the show. It's an honor to be able to be fed awesome and true words.
Thank you.
It's nice to have somebody on on my platform that understands that we might not always agree, but we can disagree respectfully.
Absolutely.
And I have my one way of thinking. I try to be open-minded. And at the same time, I'm willing to hear what you have to say, Dr. Kim. I find myself, Dr. Kim, more often than not agreeing with what you have to say. So,
okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
baby.
go ahead.
I just did not the very last part of what you said I didn't hear, but I'm not sure it's important that I heard it anyway. So you go ahead.
Well, I said it's nice to have people to be able to talk to people that we may not always agree,
right?
But we can disagree respectfully.
Absolutely.
But I find myself more times than not agreeing with what Dr. Kim has to say.
Oh, thank you. Well, Stacey, it is about being open, to the possibility. And I try to stay open and at the same time very closed at the same time, and when I talk about things, there's always one aspect and then the other aspect. There's, your blessing is a gift, yet your blessing could be a curse, and it's the same thing as far as Kim. Stay open to learn, but at the same time, shut it down if it's against your faith. And so you have to learn what to open up, and you need to learn what to close down. Hi, Angela. Good to see you. You look beautiful in your Christmas hat. And so I, when I know that I've got, a lot to say, and I thank God for that. But I also understand that the little bit that I do know, Stacey, is is so much deeper than what I know. It's just still a little bit of the truth. Let me not think that this is it and conclude. No, 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 no. Whatever. I remember one time I was in New York City, and I was praying about something, and it fell so heavily on me. And it was a revelation that I use all the time, and the way it goes is like this: don't allow the facts to get in the way of the truth. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, but I didn't quite understand it. And and I remember, don't allow the facts to get in the way of the truth. And I remember thinking, I like the wording of that, but I'm not sure what that means. And I remember that day my spirit was vexed because I was I was a newer speaker. I had about 200 women listening to me all day. Most of them were more educated, more seasoned than what I was. And of course, I was very grateful because I got a standing ovation. And I was very grateful. I was telling them a story, Stacey, and I knew that the truth of the story was being told. But I also, I said, it's a blue car. I wasn't sure if the car was blue. It happened at night. I'm not sure that it happened at night. There were things in the story that I just was not sure of. And so when I was driving out of New York City, I remember praying, and I remember saying, I was lying. I'm lying in the middle of my story. And I'm just like, I want to do things to be blessed. And so I remember I was very upset about the fact that I really wasn't real sure how the story went, but I knew that the story was true. And then that's exactly what fell on my spirit. Don't allow the facts to get in the way of the truth. Don't allow the blueness of the car to take away the truth. You concerned if the car was blue, red, or yellow, and I want them to see the truth. And so I had to learn that sometimes we can we could take things, and it's like we're all messed up. And I have done so many things in even my Christian walk to where I'm like, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Recently, let me say this, and then I'll be quiet, but for just a second. I was at this restaurant, and I heard, I was in the stall, and I heard in the next stall this lady coughing. I mean, horribly. I mean, she sounded like she was choking. And I remember coming out, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my goodness. And I was very concerned. And so she came out, and I said, hi. I said, can I help you? Can I help you? Is your person here? Do you need something? What can I do? And she was like, no, I'm okay. I just have a horrible cough. And I said, okay. I said, well, God bless you. And, I hope you feel better. And then on my way home from the restaurant, and this was not long ago, Stacey, I told myself, I said, Kim, you should have prayed for her. You should have asked her, ma'am, do you mind if I have a word of prayer with you? And I remember just really being critical. And then the next day, I was swarming in the thoughts. Don't allow the facts to get in the way of the truth. And what came to me, Stacey, because sometimes we could be so religious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My thought, pray for her. But God confirmed, no, love her first. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
Yes.
me stopping everything to see if there was anything for her that she needed done was really what I was supposed to do. And that sometimes we could be so religious. And it's like, love them gently. Ask them for permission. I had to really learn, and I still don't know. I mean, I'm still growing to whereas, Kim, what you see as walking in faith is not what I see. What you see, what I see is you keeping your mouth shut. That's what I want from you. I mean, to whereas and I'm gonna say one more thing, and this is it. And then we'll go on to your next question. This year, I mean, it's been, yes, love first. Thank you, Christine. It's so important. To whereas I was so upset with myself, and I was like, you did exactly what you should have done. Love her. Okay. This week, I guess maybe 3 or 4 days ago, I had been praying, Father, make me excited for 2021. Give me something that's going to happen so that I can leave out of this year excited that it's going to happen.
I know
And,
that's
and,
right.
and, and Stacey, I always want that. It's like, and now that I think about it, I probably pray that every year at the end of the year. But and so that's what I was thinking. I said, just give me something to look forward to so I can be excited. And I have been praying about it like 3 or 4 days, and it just it's very good. There doesn't seem like anything's wrong with that. But this morning I was kind of lounging around, and what came in my spirit was, I want you, without seeing anything for 2021, to carry the excitement that you would if you saw something, if you
Yes.
knew something. To whereas you know nothing. Now, what I want from you is for you, oh my goodness, to not see anything, but to be as if you have saw everything based on your faith in me. That's what I want. I want you to have that joy plus more without seeing a thing.
I've had that.
Yes.
I have felt like that.
Yes.
I've heard that some time ago, that sometimes when I'm sitting there,
Yes.
and just because I can't see that this problem will be solved,
Yes.
imagine how I'm going to feel when God solves it.
Yes. Yes.
That has a tendency to make me feel better.
Yes.
But I want to address something that you said earlier that's very important to me is, instead of walking to the lady and saying, are you okay? Listening to her and saying, I'll pray for you, and going about your way.
Yes.
Thank you for saying, is there anything I can do for you?
Yes.
Because people get it twisted, Dr. Kim.
Yes.
I believe God can work miracles.
Yes.
I believe that God will help her feel better. But in the
Yes.
meantime,
Yes.
is there anything you can do besides put it all in his hands?
Right. Right.
Is it
And
anything you can do?
Right. I mean, and it's okay to say, do you mind if the woman coughing, she don't want me praying right now. I can always pray on my own, but it's such a we think it's like, ooh, I asked her if she could, but I'm like, that sounds so religious. To whereas the God that I serve is like, love her.
Yes. Yes.
And to whereas, love her. And the very things oftentimes what we think is it is not it. I mean, it's like sometimes when I do one-on-one coaching, I tell people, and it depends on their situation. One of the things that I do, Stacey, is I help people define their purpose and assignment in life and walk in it. And so many times, not everyone, but sometimes I will have people get a person, maybe at their job, and to silently walk with them, befriend them, love them. It's almost like be a invisible angel.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
so respectful and kind to ask a question without assuming. Yes, yes, Christine. I remember when it's been a long time, and I had to relearn how to love. And I still don't know. I'm still working on it, and I'm still very far from it, Stacy. But I was so shocked when when I was going through this time with God about reloving. It was like this. Do you mind if I come in? Is it okay that I have a seat? So how are you today? I mean, to whereas, do you mind if I come in? I'm like, it is nothing arrogant, controlling about it. And I was like, I've got some learning to do. And I have just noticed that most of what I thought I need to unthink, and it's not it. It's just not it. And so I so when I learned the gentleness and the permission asking and the respect that is required, it shocked me. It shocked me because that's not what we're taught. I mean, I'm not sure what we're taught, but we're not taught that because many times we're everything but gentle and loving.
Okay. Okay.
It's just I just I'm and we're always becoming, and it is it's interesting. I remember when I was with my mother, and my mother, she passed about 10 years ago. My father passed about 14 years ago. I was always a daddy's girl. And my mother, Stacy, she is like the smartest, sassiest. I mean, very good with money, and she would say things without thinking. You, you, you know, Stacy, you know how our blessing is our curse. Like your
Yes.
daughter, she's like, well, she's sassy around the house saying things she shouldn't say, and you're like, you get out if you can't listen to what I say. And then we'll go around like, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? She is so nasty. Well, more than likely, her gift is a leader. And you are noticing the curse side of her gift. She's outspoken because she's a leader. She says what she wants because she's a leader. But it has not been pruned to where it's a gift yet. It's her curse. So usually, many times, we tend to operate in our gift, but it's twisted. And then our blessing becomes our curse, and our curse becomes our blessing. And as I was sitting there with my mother, I will never forget this day. I felt in my spirit, be quiet. I knew it was God, and I sat there and I smiled and I said a little bit, but that sassy stuff that I had, or that talking back, God was like, shut your mouth. Stacey, it was so God. And then later on that evening, I knew in my spirit that it was my job to make my mother feel like she was the most loved person in the world. And since that day, 25 years ago, I shut my mouth. And who could have, it's like I first did it with my mother, and then I've done it in my relationships. I've learned, Stacey, that the ability to not have to say something is a blessing.
Yes, ma'am.
Because in everything is all, and when we talk about being spiritually exhausted, if I have an issue, it's always about me. My mother, it was not my mother, it's me. People will treat you the way that you allow them to. And we teach people how to treat us by what we will accept from them. It's almost like my mother was the vehicle that God used to show me, shut your mouth.
Wow. Excuse me. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yes, it is.
And Dr. Kim, you talk about, not only you, I do too. We talk about God with such joy,
Yes.
having so much faith. And then we get to your topic, which I am just really trying to tie all of this in. Are you spiritually exhausted? If I know to praise him, praise him, praise him, to trust him, to believe in him, how dare say I'm spiritually exhausted?
Really?
You-
Well,
what do you mean? Because how can you get tired? What is it that you get tired of?
ooh. Stacey, if we were real about who we are and how we feel, exhaustion is when we are tired of not seeing the results.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And if you are God first, then everything else lines up under the spiritual. Because the earthly talk is, I'm physically tired, I'm emotionally tired, I'm mentally tired. But if you love God and that is your priority, what will happen here on earth? Because see, and I don't have time to change topics or what have you, but we talk about spiritual favor. But I often talk about earthly favor. Okay. And they're two different things. Spiritual favor is, of course, what we don't deserve. It's not fair. Earthly favor is usually based on what we do. Like, many times people don't understand that if you want to be promoted, if you want to be hired, if you want to be picked for that job, they've got to like you. Okay? If
Okay.
they don't like you, they're not going to pick you. Okay? If you're hard to approach, they're not going to ask you. And most people, oh my goodness, would prefer to hire someone that is teachable and approachable than a know-it-all. Okay? That's one of the things that we don't know. Okay, then we'll go around, well, I don't care if nobody likes me. Well, I mean, you don't think you care. It might be common for us to say that we don't care. Oh, but you care. And so that's earthly. It's like people will pick you. People will approach you. People will ask you because they like you and they're comfortable with you. That's a earthly favor. Okay? And so what I have found is that many times those of us who love God, we see spiritual favor, but oftentimes we don't see earthly favor. So we're tore up. I mean, we didn't get that job. That didn't work out for me. I'm not sure about this, and I'm not sure about that. And what I find, Stacey, especially when I was getting my PhD, is that people that didn't even claim God was just boiling over in favor. It was like biblical principles, because really when you love God, it doesn't really it makes you distant in your mind, but it makes everybody else feel like they know you. Are you, I mean, it's interesting because with everything, it's not just one straight line. It's like when the closer you are to God, the more you might even want to be alone. But yet, the more people are curious about you because it's something about you, and they think it's your hair. And they're like, Stacey, I love your hair. And they think it's how you dress. And it's like, girl, you are so cute. But it's really the God in you. And so, God has a way of, it's always this and that and this. I was telling someone that be careful with the extremes. Okay. I mean, love them, but don't be obsessed with them. You know, want them, but don't have to want them. And when you get to the extremes to where you can't live without it, all kind of things happen, even mental illness. Whenever we talk about things far from God, it's usually the extremes. I remember there was a time, and I would just tell God, I just want to be in here with you, praying all day, you know, me and you, me and you, me and you. And it was very clear that if I couldn't leave the room and spread what God has put in me to other people, there's no use for me. It's not about just me and God. It's about God putting it in me so I can give it to other people. Even in that, there has to be some balance. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I'm still trying to tie it in, like, because when I see the title, like, spiritually exhausted, Because I know we
Okay,
both.
I'll get there. I promise. Let me get there.
No, it makes sense to me. Everything you're saying, almost to the point it will, as Baron Candy to Wanda Parker, who referred me to you, says, "Don't get distracted, Stacey," because
I know.
what you're saying, it's very interesting. It is, and it opens up a whole lot for me, Dr. Kim.
Well,
A lot of questions, but
and
I am really like I'm just so anxious about the exhausted
okay,
part. I'm just
and I thank you for that. I thank you for that. Let me say something. Many times when you love God, if you're exhausted, it's spiritual. But we see it as physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, emotionally exhausted. But in a lot of ways, we're spiritually exhausted. And what spiritual exhaustion means is that we are tired of not seeing the results of what we have asked for.
That's what I wanted for you. I
Okay.
That's what I wanted to hear because
And let me say this because we got to, I mean, I only know my story, Stacey, and I'm not sure how God works with you. But I remember not so long ago, I was so broke. And, I was spiritually high, but tore up. But Stacy, I was so broke that, I would say, God, I need some money, this and that. What I wanted him to do was to put the money in my account. Okay. That's what I wanted him to do. Okay, Taisha, be sure you listen. Okay, here we go. To whereas if I am spiritual before I am everything else, then I'm spiritually exhausted. If I get rejuvenated spiritually, I'll be physically okay. And I'll share a story with you. But let me say something. Okay, so where was I at? Oh, I was reading Taisha's, and I think I said your name right, and I didn't. Um,
you were going to explain it
God,
to
okay,
me.
I was broke. Okay, I wanted God to put money in my account, but that's not how He works with me. I now know that when I ask for something like money or ideas, He will teach me how to run a special. He's a good daddy. He'll say, do it. Okay, Kim, instead of ghostwriting the book for them for this price, bring it down to this price and you'll get your money that way. Every single time I need something like that, he will teach me, not just give to me.
Yes, ma'am.
And because I now know how he works with me, I don't get spiritually exhausted because the answers are given to me. But if you don't know how he answers you, then he may be trying to answer you this way or that way and this way. When he's like, Stacey, that's not how I answer you.
That's right.
I mean, do you understand what I mean?
Yes, ma'am. I believe um, the same way the way you're saying about you, as far as me, spiritually exhaustion could be, and I've learned this, okay, for me.
Yes.
I want this. I'm gonna give you an example, marriage.
Sure.
Someone may say, I want my marriage to work, so I'm gonna pray on it. And they pray on it, and they pray on it, and they pray on it. And they're tired because the marriage isn't getting any better. And they're thinking God isn't listening to them. But has God not done anything because he needs you to see that you need to make a move?
Let me say something. A
Wow.
couple of things.
I guess when you, not to cut you off, Dr. Kim, but we pray for things and pray for things and pray for things. And we think God is going to exactly how we want it. We're tying ourselves out instead of just doing our part, or maybe like you said, your mother, like to be quiet,
Mm-hmm.
be quiet,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe He's answering you. You're tying yourself out. It's not that He's not answering you. You're not listening and paying attention because you're too busy thinking you know what's good for you.
Stacey, let me say something. One thing about our Father is that we need to come naked without an ego. And when I have helped people with their marriage, the very first thing, many of them, not all of them, many of them need to realize is that, Father, I have lied on you for years because you weren't the one that put us together anyway. Okay. So you understand. I mean, this
Yes,
wasn't
ma'am.
you. Now. I thought it was you. I felt it was you. I mean, at that time, I thought it was you, but Father, the more and maybe somewhere deep inside, I already knew. It was never you. Now I'm asking you to make it you when it was never you. So I find that the people that I help with their marriage have to really get real. And if God wasn't the one that said, look, He is the one for you, because usually who we want, we don't need. And usually who we need, we don't want. So if and not always, but if He was, oh, He's everything that I wanted, I hope He's the one. But it's really possible that maybe He is not, because I have found that usually who we want is not the same person that we need. Okay. Now, and so even in a bad marriage, God is saying, I'm watching you. This has nothing to do with Larry.
Okay.
It has everything to do with you. And I know that's hard, but I remember I've been married for 34 years, I think, and I have a very strong marriage. And Stacey, I remember a time when I was unhappy in my marriage, and God was like, you treat him like I want you to treat him. So now I don't nag, because what I do is unto God, not him.
Okay.
I have a son. I love my son. But when I mother, I'm trying to please God, not him. And so when I take God out of the picture, and then I'm looking at Christian as Christian, and I'm looking at Derek as Derek, I become spiritually exhausted because I've taken my eyes off God. Let me say something. If the enemy can get us to be too tired, he's got us. What were you going to say?
So you're saying, Dr. Kim, that it's the enemy that's exhausting us.
If we allow him to, of course. It's very easy. All of us are tired. But
So
wait a minute. And what, Stacey, because every person you talk to will say that they're exhausted, especially this year. But when we think we're mentally exhausted, I'm financially exhausted, I'm physically exhausted, without realizing, no, darling, you're spiritually exhausted. And let me say something. And let me give you some secrets about spiritual exhaustion. One thing that many of us don't know is that Depression. Now, I'm not talking about if something happens tonight and somebody close to you would pass away, you're depressed. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about everyday things. So I want to get real clear with this as far as there will be surprises in our life and depression will come just because we're sad about what's happening. This can happen. But when we're talking about depressed because of a reason, and watch this, depression, and this has something to do with being spiritually exhausted. Depression has no power unless you believe in something. Stay with me. So, depression is looking for what you want. Now, watch this. And when doubt starts coming in, oh, you're not going to get married. Girl, it's never going to happen to you. Girl, you'll be 62 this year. When doubt starts slipping in, depression has landed. Depression has no power unless you really want it. And so in our walk, Stacey, that's why we have to be careful with the extremes. And that is why we need to get to the point of, if I get it, good, and if I don't get it, good.
So,
If it happens, good, and if it doesn't happen, it is still good.
so is that how you believe we should think when prayers go unanswered? When people have tired themselves out from asking over and over, say what you just said, Dr. Kim?
You know what? I believe that we should be at a point, and it's hard, to where we love God the most. Now, I'm not just saying that, I'm talking about really living that thing and really understanding that we are here for a purpose and an assignment. And if we get other things like marriage, a really good job, and a lot of money, that's extra. But see, we don't see it that way. We act like this is it. Our crown is in heaven. And what, because a lot of times we can't really get married the way we need to unless we're okay without getting married. Usually it's the okayness of not getting married that makes you attractive.
Okay.
And so, is it hard? Yes. But is it right? Yes.
Okay.
And it's got to be a point to where, I remember talking to my brother, and it was about some car or something, and he said something, and I looked at him and I said, I could wait. I mean, I can wait. And then I even asked myself, do I even really want it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, everything's a blessing. I mean, I try to get nice things. So the car I have, if it runs for 10 more years, I'm gonna still like it because I really like that car. But it's like I have to, in order, when we talk about being spiritually exhausted, unless I'm putting too much energy into something, what has the power to exhaust me? I mean, unless I'm working, trying to do it myself. But if I'm balanced, and I'll say it would be a blessing. But if not, I'm good.
Okay.
Exhaustion is nowhere around. Go ahead, Stacey. I got something else to say.
You got something else to say?
Yeah, let me say it. Do you
Okay.
mind? Yes. That depression thing. There's different forms of depression, and I really want to say, because I have dealt with some very serious depression, very serious. Was it based out of a want? Yes, it was. And it could be based out of a good thing, wanting to know what I should do next, wanting to know what's next in my career. I mean, usually when we're depressed, it comes from one source. Usually we have, some people get depressed when they have no money. Some people get really depressed when they're not in a relationship. Some people get depressed when they lack direction. And there is a target that is aimed at. And then when doubt comes, depression comes. One thing that I had told a group, and this, just like almost everything, Stacey, it's kind of new for me, and I love this, and I'm gonna share it with you. A lot of times we'll go around and we'll say, have faith, and um, you know, I'm not that, I just, for me to be real, most of us say we have faith when we don't, okay? And unless it's active faith, it's not faith. Okay. You could say, well, I really believe this, but then in 3 weeks, forget that you even said that you believe it. And so when I say active faith, I'm talking about living out that thing. I'm talking about talking out that thing. I mean, to whereas it's going to have to be an active faith. Anyway, see, that's the type of stuff you can say it's faith, but it's really not faith. Faith is a verb. And that's the type of stuff that we were never taught, to where it's more than just mouth movement. Let me say this to you. One thing that I had to tell a group, Stacey, is that sometimes, and this is just one of the secrets of life, one of those things is like, ooh, it's like, oh my gosh. Sometimes being encouraged can do more than faith. Stay with me. And the reason is because encouragement is a small sample of faith. If you go to somebody like, oh, I'm encouraged for 2021. I don't know what it is, but something good is going to happen. Oh my goodness, I can feel it. I can feel it. I'm anxious for 2021. I cannot wait for 2020 to get out of here. And so what I'm saying to you, encouragement naturally is active.
Okay.
And is faith activated.
Okay.
But unless you activate just faith, it may not be faith at all. I've seen some huge things happen when people are just encouraged.
That's right.
So even with my son, Stacey, I hardly say, Christian, do you have faith? It's too much. He's like, well, it's conditional. It depends on what's going on. But if I say, Christian, are you encouraged? He's like, I am so encouraged. Encouragement is an incredible way not to be spiritually exhausted.
So if you had to, for the lady that came in a little late, if you had to say those 4 things, Dr. Kim, those 4 profound things that are behind spiritual exhaustion, how would you say it? Like, I mean, I love the way you're telling us, giving us such detail. But for someone that just jumped on, if they were to take notes, the 4 profound secrets behind it, would it be, because I'm like praying and not feeling like it's being answered, would that be one, or what's the 4?
Sure. I hope I'm understanding your question, Stacey. I'm not sure because you talk over my head all the time and I never
The 4, you said there's 4 profound secrets.
Okay.
behind spiritually exhausted?
One of them is what I do, the 4 secrets is I make a note of what I'm praying about. Then I go back and see what has been answered. If I'm not keeping track, because there's been some times in my relationship I've said, God, I don't feel like you're answering my prayers. I feel like you're not answering my prayers. So throughout the day, I will put I will write down just a word or two. And then it all depends on your style. Every week, every 3 or 4 days, go back and see what he has answered. Let me say something. One of the biggest secrets, and you've heard me say this, sometimes I don't know what he is saying, but Stacey, you have heard me base your decision. Thank you, Angela. Honey, thank you. Base your decision on your level of peace and allow your peace to make decisions for you. I needed to approach a big, huge company last week. And I wasn't sure, I wasn't mad. Now it takes a long time for me to get mad. I just, people are human, people forget things. I'm not, it takes a lot for me to get mad. So I wasn't mad. So I didn't have that type of energy behind me. See, when you're mad or angry, that's an energy. And then when you try to love God, the more that you can, the more, constantly, that force of anger you don't have. So I had prayed about it and I was like, is this the week that I should approach them? Because it's a pretty big thing that I was going to discuss with them. And last week, I just did not feel like it was time. This week, I remember saying, what do you think? And I did not expect to hear no voice in the middle of the night, but I knew that it would happen through my peace. And then all of a sudden, I felt like it was okay. But see, Stacey, so peace is another secret. Stacey, but if I came in the situation with my own thoughts behind it, then I don't know if it's me or God. But when I come in and I'm like, I'm not angry, and if I'm supposed to, and how I'm going to, you let me know. If I come in and all I care about is pleasing him, then I'll know. But if I come in and I can't believe they took my money and I've already given them $800, and it's just like I can't even hear God. Base your decisions on your level of peace. The other thing, if you are confused about your gift, you will see it as exhaustion. It will drain you. It will take everything out of you. And the reason is because it will be your problem maker. See, if you don't see your gift as a gift, because your gift is the thing that other people won't understand you and what you don't like about yourself. And so, Stacey, last week we talked about, I believe that you're gifted in how you treat others, how you love others, how you give to others. And the more you correctly give, the more refreshing you will be. And that your greatest exhaustion, Stacey, will be when you're not giving and you're not loving and when you're not encouraging. Spiritually exhausted. Does that make sense?
Yes,
And that
ma'am.
for you to work in your give, refreshing you. The same thing you want to say in anger. There is a scripture to relay the same message by the word. Thank you, Latrice. Thank you. Thank you, Latrice. But I'm sure, yes, thank you, Latrice. And so your blessing versus your curse. The earth will use your blessing as a problem, but God mean it for good. Like a lot of times, if somebody goes into an interview, I will have them bring up their gift. I will say something like, okay, like if you're going for an interview, you can say something like, I've always been very good with young adults. They trust me, and we have an open and good relationship. To where basically you're saying people connect to me. That is my gift. Because what usually happens is that we get in trouble and people don't like us because they see the wrong side of our gift. So a lot of times we don't even talk our gift. I mean, but you, Stacey, see, and let me say this because I'm here with you, is that because you're sweet, when you get business like you are now, people are confused. It takes a little bit more for them to see you seriously because you're sweet. Do you understand what I'm saying?
We talking about me?
Yeah,
No. Yes, ma'am.
I'm talking about you. And that is the same thing to whereas as much as you're supposed to love others, there's a real entrepreneurial way in you to own what you give to others. If that
Wow.
makes it, yes. And,
Yes.
and and so a lot of times we may see it as being complicated. And if we don't understand what God has put into us, it will exhaust us. See, we have to understand that there is a plan for us to not walk in the things of God. And so that is why, although I say depression, I talk about it like it's alive because it really is and is looking to see what you really want. But when you are okay, regardless. I remember when God told me to stop mothering my child. And I was like, what? What he meant was love him, but don't be obsessed with him. Like, my God. But here on earth, the more obsessed we are, the more we love. Don't be obsessed with him. And so, usually when we love God, if we fix the exhaustion, everything else is fixed too.
Yes, ma'am. Someone popped up and said, could you repeat it? I'm almost thinking, because we've said so much and I'm not sure what part she's talking about. I'm almost wondering if would she be referring to when you said, and I want to get this straight, when you're not sure what it is that you should be doing that God has put in you, that exhausts you? Is that what you said, Dr. Kim?
When you allow your gift to work against you,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
When you allow, if you're hot-tempered, you must be a phenomenal leader, but you see the hot-temperedness. But your reaction on your emotion, if you're really, really that much of a leader and you're not basing stuff off of your ego, and you love people the way that and plus you can lead, like you are, it's like our little girls come in the world now, and they just they could run the family at 5 years old. And it's a blessing. But Stacey, it's gonna curse them if you don't balance it. Because I don't need a man. I will talk to a 5 years old. 5 years. I don't want to get married. I don't want to get married. They don't even know. You don't even. It's like if we can make our little girls strong, but loving, really loving. And Stacey, if we can make our little boys stronger and giving, because our little boys come in, don't even know what's happening, cry, scared, no confidence, don't know what's happening. And many mothers worry about their boys. They know that little girl's going to be all right. And then listen, I know it's nobody listening to me that's ever done this, nobody but me, but we tend to love our boys and then teach our girls. And then Stacey, we end up, see, and this is how the breakdown happens. We end up marrying men that were loved and not taught. We marry men that were loved and not taught.
Wow.
And so I've had somebody say, what do I do with that? And I said, if he's a good man and he was targeted, my God, and if he's a good man, teach him. It's better that you say, baby, on Mondays, I need you to do this. How do you feel about it? Because see, if not, we're going to end up hating them. See, we're going to end up resenting them. See, you know, and when I do men conferences, I always tell them, you know, it's not that she wants you to make up the bed every morning. She wants you to be willing to make up the bed every
See,
morning.
that's a good thing you said. I've heard women speak on things like that. And that's something you should do one day, Dr. Kim. When you say they've been loved and not taught, and then you say teach them,
I would teach them. If you
that's another show for being
it's
exhaustion.
another show.
That's,
It's another
that's
show.
exhausting.
Everybody is not worth it. But if what you're dealing with, if your frustration is coming because he really, I mean, but you know, we teach people how to treat us by what we will accept from them. Listen, if you were dating and you were always the one doing the dinners, doing this, you get out the car without him opening up the door, you have taught him how to treat you.
Yeah. See, that's a good thing. That's one of those things, Dr. Kim, you should do a Zoom on or something because women are going to want to talk about that.
I guess so. Maybe at the beginning of the year. But and it's okay. And a lot of us know that it's like I find that men want to bless us. I've seen so many women, I can get it. I mean, it's like when you do all the dates and he don't have to do anything, you're teaching him that. Why doesn't he? Because he don't have to.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So we've got 15.
I know you're tired of me. I know.
No, ma'am. Dr. Kim.
Okay.
No, ma'am. I love talking to you. I want to make sure because I don't want to forget because the conversation gets so good and I'm sitting here, I'll listen all day. We've got 15 more minutes and I want to make sure that we cover everything.
Okay.
So you've done the 4 profound secrets, understanding the disguise.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And the last one which I really want to know about, is using the power you never knew you had. I'm not sure, are we coming back on to discuss that, or are we touching that tonight?
Stacey, everything you said was like the predator. It was like
Okay. Oh,
but I'm assuming that what you asked me was, what do you mean by disguise?
yes.
Okay, let me say this. When you love God, our whole world is a disguise. Distractions are meant to get you off course. I mean, everything. Um, your exhaustion will show up in your body. I mean, to whereas you'll become sick, all that. And it'll be manifested in you're mentally exhausted, you're dehydrated, you're physically exhausted. But when you love God, He refreshes all of that. And for most of us who love God, when we're refreshed in God, we're refreshed. We have an advantage that other people don't have. It's like after you talk to God about a situation, and even though nothing has happened other than you talk to Him, you're like, oh, I feel good. It's like, oh my God. Every time I talk to my and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. That is how you refresh in your exhaustion. To whereas understanding that for us, we should see it different than the world sees it. That there's other ways to refreshen your bodily exhaustion, and it's through God. Let me say something very quickly, and this is what is the next question you have, Stacey?
No, say it, Dr. Kim.
No, because it might be the next question. If so, I want to be able to use it. So, what is
What what power is it that I don't know that I have?
okay? Exactly what we're talking about. That there are ways to rejuvenate ourselves spiritually, to use encouragement sometimes instead of faith. That when we're encouraged, it is naturally active and it plays the role of faith because that's what it is. The power that we have is understanding that exhaustion, depression, confusion goes in us when we doubt what we really, really want.
Wow.
Doubt, doubt. It can't get into you unless you really want it. And if you don't really, you want it, but it's not everything, it has no power over you. The other thing is that for about 4 years, I was severely exhausted, depressed, whatever you want to say. And I didn't know what to do. Stacey, I have always, even since a little girl, oh God, I would believe, but I would believe, but I was always wanting to make sure I'm believing it, but if you don't want to do it, it's okay. You understand me? I believe it, but what do you think? What do you so because my motive was right, but my belief wasn't strong because I halfway believed. Because I did not understand that hopefully we're at a point to what we really want. God has given us that desire anyway. Hopefully. You understand me? I mean, after a while, now what I always know that God should be first. I mean, and so, and God talks about the desires of our heart. And I remember I was like, I gotta, and for me, if I don't know what to do next, I can't function. Okay, Stacey, not long ago, it was very simple. God said, believe it. Don't consider this, that. If you're right, if you're wrong, believe it. Believe it. Believe it. See it. Know it. And I had been at that point in my life before, but then I was like, well, maybe this is not all that. To whereas I think I'm right, but some of that is also an excuse not to believe. And God said, whatever you do, believe it like it's already done. It's just like 2021. You go into this new year like I have shown you your life. Believe it. And once I got it in my spirit to believe like a crazy person, my energy and everything came back within seconds. And that was 4 years of not being able to brush my teeth, not being able to call and make appointments. God said, your energy comes from believing it. And if that's not active and really active with also what I said I would do or what you want, there's no energy in me.
That's surprising, Dr. Kim, to think that. I don't think you're perfect, and I know we all go through things, but to hear you say that so boldly, say it and confess it, I mean, to others.
Well, and Stacey, you know, I've always made those mistakes of just, sometimes I need to calm down. It's like, I think I told you, sometimes if you get it all mixed up, you could be bound sexually. You could be bound with intimacy. And God's like, I didn't mean for that to happen. I didn't tell you those restrictions. You're harder on yourself than what I would ever be. I mean, the things that I have done, and or I think it's God, like I remember I was in Arizona at the end of last year, and I was listening to this man, and I was like, well, I do pretty well on that. And then I remember turning him off, and it was so clear, no, you're not available. God told me you're not available. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, every time I send you out on the road, it ruins your entire week. You don't call people because you don't want to talk to them. You're scared of them when they ask you to go for dinner. You dread every phone call. Today, Stacey, I was like, God, I said, I'm having this interview with Stacey. Thank you that I don't dread it. I'm excited about Stacey. For the last 25 years, I would have been not nervous. I mean, I'm pretty confident in my gift, but dreading it. I don't know what it was. But God was like, you're not available. You think you are. But what I have you to do it cheerfully. Enjoy it. It's your gift. Stacey, I would get an assignment, and I used to fly to 18 cities a month. So I was on the road, so I was depressed all the time. But I would, you know, I was so backwards. Famous people, I'm not going to mention who, famous people would say, let's go to dinner. And I'd be like, no. I couldn't wait to get in my room. And I remember one person, he said, you should be asking me to dinner. I'm like, you're right. You're right. I could be so much further. And it wasn't really being scared. I'm somewhat shy, but I had learned, and I think I had told you, I never know what's bothering me until I think about what I'm thinking about.
Wow.
And if I'm thinking about it a whole lot, it's bothering me. If I wake up in the middle of the night and it's on my mind, it's bothering me. So I'm constantly thinking about what I am thinking about. And that tells me where I'm at with it. So I remember I started, and this is new for me to be okay. Look, I just prayed today and thank God that I didn't dread our interview. Because I would, it was, my brother would say, don't you enjoy your gift? I said, no.
No one should worry about coming on and talk to me, Dr. Kim. Fun.
Stacey, it's not about you, honey. It's not about you.
No. What I mean is to come on Stacey's show. Just come
The
on.
embassy where I'm grateful that I wasn't out in your face. Look at me, look at me, look at me. But at the same time, I was not usable to God. And so I've always dealt with, well, I'm gonna ask God to see if it's okay with him. So my heart was in the right place, but I was so wrong and missing the blessings. To whereas I just don't know what I think I know. And the little bit that I know is so far from what I need to know.
Wow. Dr. Kim,
Yes, baby.
it's been nice, beautiful.
Thank you.
It's been great. I know that you have a new audiobook out.
I do.
Tell us about that
Okay.
and how we can get it.
My new audiobook is very good. I, I'm a mess. And the title is Stop the Drama and Stop Defending Your Life. And I go into a whole lot of things like, you know, um, I talk a lot about maturity age to whereas somebody might be 72, but if they're functioning at a 17-year-old level, they will give you the perspective of a 17-year-old. And a lot of times we have to, it will help us so much if we looked at people based on their maturity age instead of their biological age. It will answer for us why they do what they do. Some of us can't forgive our mother because although she was our mother, she might have stopped maturing at 20. And so you're dealing with the 20-year-old. That's all she has to give you. And yet she's your mother. And if you see her as a 20-year-old, you'll understand why she might be jealous of you. Or you'll understand why she might talk to your kids the wrong way. It is so important that we see people based on our level of maturity. I also go into, don't take John home with you. Don't cook dinner with John. Don't take John to bed with you. Don't allow John to be in the shower with you. Because if you take John home with you, John is not thinking about you. We're talking about how to not take people emotionally home with you. It is an incredible, incredible, incredible audio. It is life-changing and is excellent. It is $12.99 if you're interested in it. If you could just push the link, it'll take you to $12.99. It's normally $20. And then within 24 hours, I will send you your audiobook. It's a beautiful gift for other people as well. And I listen to my own self sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many things. Like if someone is rude to you, they have pre-selected you to be rude to, just those type of things, to whereas they have watched you, they have selected you, they have seen how you have responded to others. And so it's just full of wisdom. The other thing that I wanted to add is that I have not really started working on it yet, but Stacy, I am going to do like a Dr. Kim VIP, and it's for those that want to reconstruct their life. And I'm going to be starting it at the beginning of the year, and where I will walk with you throughout the entire year. And we're going to be recorrecting some things, redoing some things. I promise you that we will define your purpose. You'll be able to walk in your purpose. It will be phenomenal. It will be one on one. I will have emergency meetings where you're able to call me when you're in a glitch. If you are busy doing everything to everyone else, and you're like, it's about me now. It's about me. You're going to want the Dr. Kimmer's VIP. I only have 12 slots because I don't have a whole lot of time. If you're not one of the first 12, then you will need to be on the waiting list for 2022. It is an investment, but there's also monthly payments that you can do any way that you can do it. I tell you, the one-on-one, the reconstruction, the really, 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 really forgiving, the letting go of the grudge, to setting yourself up to get the job that you really, really want, starting your own business, all of that. I wish, Stacy, that I had it when I was younger. I think I would listen. I don't know. I'm kind of stubborn, but I wish I had someone to walk with me, just to coach me, to speak wisdom to me. Um some people might say, I want to write a book by the end of this year, and then I will coach you through it. I have a publishing company, and then we can get your book published. And just it's like looking at your life. Yeah, and I'm almost finished. I'm almost finished. But the other day, Stacey, I was like, oh my gosh, all of us have been given this life for us to manage. And you have your life and I have my life. And it's up to me to decide who I want in it, who I don't want in it, where I will live, what I will put up with. I talk a lot about non-negotiables, that we need to have 3 things that we will fight for. And once we establish those 3 things, then other things don't have any power. See, and the reason why a lot of us fight, and it's not even your business, and you fighting for it, and it's like, find 3 things. You might say my faith, my children, the fact that I'm a veteran. Then those are your top 3s. So when somebody at your job come to you and they want you to be mad too because you guys can't wear open-toe shoes, you really don't care, because it's not tapping into your non-negotiables. So all of that will be established at 12 VIPs. If you're interested, I will hold you a spot just by emailing me, Dr. Kim at the drkimexperience.com. The audio is incredible. It's very, very, very good. And I am excited about, and Stacey, I have no idea what's going to happen, but great things. Great things.
I love that I can see it in your face that, you know what? If I didn't know any better, I would swear you know something exactly what was going to happen.
Well,
but it's your face, and you're talking about your faith and your encouragement. And I see it in your face, and I know great things are going to happen.
and not
I
only
believe
to
that.
me, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
everybody looking at this, join me. To whereas, Father, you don't have to show me. You don't have to tell me. I'm just going to believe it. I'm going to believe in that favor that when I walk in a place, that I will have favor. I always talk about people transferring anger, people transferring frustration. To whereas when you walk in a place, hi, how are you? To whereas, people don't even have time to influence you because you are the influence giver.
That's right.
Let me say this one thing. And I used to open up my tour with this. I don't say hi to you for you to say hi to me. I say hi to you because I need to like me. So if I say hi to you and you don't say hi to me back, it doesn't take my joy. It doesn't take my peace because I'm not saying hi to you for you. I'm saying hi to you so I can love me.
Love it. I love how you say it. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm wishing you the very best.
Okay. I love you, Stacey.
I love you. And the last thing, how can they follow you, Dr. Kim?
Well, my website is Dr. Kim, the Dr. Kim Experience. I do have a show on Facebook on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Because of the holiday, I will be speaking this Tuesday and next Tuesday, but not Wednesday and Thursday because of the holiday. I want to stress the VIP. After this year, we should be able to handle anything for 2021. Don't forget your audio. Within 24 hours, I will send it to you. It's a download. It is for your iPod, your phone, your computer. Turn me on, share it. If you have, listen, kids love me. I think it's all the hair, and all the energy. But if you've got a diva and she's 12 or 13, oh, they love it. Give it to her for Christmas. And she'll love it because there will be some nuggets in there that will complement her sassiness, yet speak truth to her. So
Thank you, beautiful.
I love you.
Thank you for coming on and talking with us, for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you.
Take care, Dr. Kim.
Okay. Stacey, take care, okay? I love you.
I love you. We'll be talking, beautiful. Bye-bye.
It's like the end, isn't it? Okay. Bye, sweetie.
Hey, thank you for watching, guys. Dr. Kim is an awesome individual. Please be sure to follow her on Facebook. Kimberly Ventus Darks, aka Dr. Kim. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. She has a 10 a.m. show. She won't be doing it on Christmas Eve or Christmas, but she's awesome. Check out her audio book. Please continue to follow me. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Stacey Thomas Unrestricted Unlimited Talk Show. And remember, don't stress too much about yesterday or worry too much about tomorrow, because if you do, you just might miss living today. I am Stacey Thomas, Unrestricted Unlimited. Have a great night.